Moon structures NASA can't explain. My name is Bill. Welcome to the Night Terrors Weekend Show. And we're starting right now. My Banned by YouTube series drops an episode every Wednesday morning. YouTube said to me, take down 3 years of your videos. These videos are no longer on the channel. The only way you can see them is to catch them on Wednesday. Welcome to Eldergrown and Takahama Plateau. Welcome to Green Tea and Gotcha Man. If you value what I do on the Night Terror streams and in the Night Terrors videos, one way to support the channel is simply by buying me a coffee. Contribute to the show by clicking the coffee link in the description below. Thank you for supporting the show. Eldergrown says, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Green Tea says, Heidi, Heidi ho. Welcome, Takahama Olsen 2. Let's get started. Here at structuresonthemoon.com. Oh, gotcha, man. Thank you for the bits. Much appreciated, sir. Take these bits that are left over from something, says Gotcha Man. Thank you, G-Man. Jack11 has arrived, says good evening. Joseph Winnie is here, says hey, everyone. Welcome, Joseph. Welcome, Jack11. Thank you for the report, Elder. Here at structuresonthemoon.com is an article entitled A Photographic Study of the Moon for Signs of Ancient Alien Artifacts. There's a quote here from Michael A.G. Michaud, I guess it's Michaud, from Contact with Alien Civilizations. Speculations about contact often challenge conventional wisdom, from biology to religion. Imagining extraterrestrials and what they might do irritates those most sure of the established worldview. We must reconsider what we've taken for granted. Welcome to David Bryce Jr. And the author begins. Welcome to the Lunatic Fringe. What these arrows are pointing to, I don't know if you can see them. There's some slight arrows. I guess it's identifying this as a dust-covered craft that looks like it's from Space 1999. As my fans and critics know, begins the author. Welcome, Stanley Zastafanovich. I have never set out to prove that extraterrestrial ruins exist on the moon. I intended to make a coffee table book, comparing photos I took of the moon with my 8-inch Celestron, comparing them to NASA's orbital photography during the Apollo missions. What I saw in the high-resolution images from NASA had me scratching my head. What were these strange, artificial-looking objects I was seeing? They were only simple shapes, but they were enough to keep me looking for more, and as often as possible. Hundreds of hours later, and after amassing a small collection of anomalies, my friends and family had cast me in the lunatic fringe. But I knew I was onto something, so I kept looking, improving my skills, and down the rabbit hole I went. To be fair, I've always believed that we are not alone. It was natural for me to consider the possibility I could be looking at alien artifacts, alien structures. I often listened to the Art Bell show and could not wait for Richard Hoagland and John Lear to be on the air. Thank you, T. Plateau. Another suggestion coming in. Why does it say that? Oh, that's why. Because she's watching without audio. That's okay, T. Plateau. I know you're a good lip reader. They would both speak at length about the existence of aliens on the moon and Mars, both Hoagland and Lear, about government cover-ups and how NASA had altered images to hide the truth. I was intrigued and determined to find out for myself But finding objects that everyone else had overlooked would require me to change how I thought about the environment, structure, and form, to build an abstract awareness so that I could imagine these images with a fresh pair of eyes. Well, just look for anything that doesn't look like dust or a crater, and you're all set. I imagined to jump through the necessary hoops with the Lunar Planetary Institute. I was given access to NASA's image archives. I did that. Yeah, that kind of T-Plateau, that kind of came out not that good. Sorry about that. My apologies, ma'am. Sadly, YouTube, I guess. No, Twitch or YouTube, I forget which one, now reports when someone's listening without audio. I don't know how that works, but that's the reports I've been getting lately, last couple of weeks. I guess it's a new feature or something. Love you too, T-Plateau. If an image I was interested in was missing or available only in low res, they would locate a copy across multiple agencies. If necessary, scan it and upload it to my personal folder. The hunt began. A couple thousand hours later, I found something I thought was remarkable. Finally, my eyes were tuned in. Tens of thousands of photos were waiting to be examined. So I changed the focus of my book to a collection of these odd structural anomalies. Let's skip past the luminous introduction. Time passed. In 2014, he was approached by a TV producer. He also re-released his first book in PDF format. Whoa. Great Pyramids circa 1904. Oh, what is it? Flashback from negative to positive? That's kind of interesting. Yeah, okay. The article proper. The vast majority of images I examined were either taken from the Apollo command modules or by the Lunar Orbiter series of satellites. There are 3 standard angles to the photograph: vertical, low oblique, and high oblique. Verticals are taken looking straight down. The Apollo mission's metric image catalog are examples of these photographs. This angle allows analysts to measure objects and features found on the terrain accurately. But unless we have clear shadows and know the camera's altitude and the sun's location, these photographs give us little clue as to the height of anything in the photo. When and if available, using 2 or more angles of any area helps determine if what we think we are seeing isn't just a trick of light and shadow. This is quite a in-depth approach. Gotchaman says, if you find some coordinates, you can look on this moon globe. Oh, cool. Thanks, Gotchaman. I'll pull that up right now. And we'll leave that in abeyance at the time, for the time being. My approach to lunar anomaly research is different than others. For starters, I make 3 grand assumptions. Number 1, humans are not the only intelligent species in the universe. I would say that's probably true. In fact, I believe that. Other intelligent species have had ample time to become technically proficient, enough to canvass the galaxy effectively. And number 3, our solar system has been visited by traveling species needing to survive or desiring to explore the cosmos. And coming up is a suggestion from Eldergrown on that very topic. That is object, what's it called? Oh, I can't remember the name of it now. We'll just click on the thing. We'll X out of here, we'll X out of here. Object 3I Atlas, we're going to cover very shortly. So stay tuned. You can spend all day with no real success. And if you find something that does look artificial, there's still no guarantee you found anything real. This is more difficult than you think. writes the author. It takes hundreds of hours just to get acquainted with the surface characteristics of the moon, and even hundreds more to grasp its sense of scale. Instead of scanning around like a crazy person, we can borrow known techniques from air photo interpretation specialists to help spot the significant. Look at that, will you? Well, that's an interesting. Figure 3, figure 4, figure 5. Where are these figures located? Figures 3 and 5. Depending on erosion, your objects may or may not cast a well-defined shadow. Beware of pseudoscopic illusion and always know the sun angle. Well, those look artificial from both angles. Look at that. It's practically an abandoned structure. Open image, new tab. Is this one going to change from negative to positive as well? Look at that. Yeah, it is. Oh, isn't that special? You got right angles there? Look at that. That's like the remains of a building. Look at this. Oh, come on. That's got to be... I was going to say man-made. Obviously not man-made, because this is before man even set foot on the moon. You can see the structure in that. Look at that. Where are the coordinates? Whoa. Let's get this back down to a normal size. I'm thinking maybe there. Okay. I ought to count my clicks here. Anything interesting around here? Look at that one. Oh, these are this is the pyramid on the moon. No kidding. Check that out. Can I open this? Yes, I can. Only the whole thing. You gotta be kidding me. Holy cow, looks like a settlement. That's amazing. Look at all these squares. Oh, that's from Iraq, sorry. But from the moon. Oh, Pyramid of the Moon in Mexico. Okay. We're evidently comparing things to sites in the USA and Peru and Iraq and Mexico here. So we'll just zoom past that. Examples of possible ancient alien structures on the moon. It's about time. T Plateau says it's pouring rain where she is. He says background, middle ground, and foreground. Appearing like giant generators from a Star Wars movie. Oh yeah, check that out right down here. The spherical structures on the foreground stand approximately as tall as an average skyscraper on Earth. Think Empire State Building. No, average skyscraper. Think smaller. Think Trump Tower. Some anomaly researchers have referred to them as wagon wheels. Check this out, people. And it's not changing from negative to positive, so thank goodness for small favors. They're actually easier to see here. Look at these guys. Like 1, 2, 3, 4 of these discs. Looks like there's a fifth in the background, maybe a sixth. Like huge generators. Whoa. I didn't count my clicks. Moon glider. Harvester. Oh, some more regular geometric lines. Like a giant mining operation. This collection of perpendicular shapes. And, yeah, that is perpendicular. Holy cow. Appears like machinery we might build here on Earth to scrape the land for minerals. Excuse me. Thank you, Elder. Thank you, T Plateau. Welcome, Brooke Birch. Yeah, this looks interesting. The Great Wheel. And you guys didn't hear my comments here about the harvester, I guess. Like a giant mining operation. This collection of perpendicular shapes appears like machinery we might build here on Earth to scrape the land for minerals. Now check this out. Look at these amazing right angles. There's 4 of them. That is made by some intelligence. A mining operation, which predates humanity most likely. And then we have the Great Wheel, like a ginormous Ferris wheel. Yes, he says ginormous, that collapsed and has been covered in dust, like the space station from 2001. This giant spoked object appears in stark contrast to the soft-surfaced characteristics of nearby hills. Look at that wire. The spokes. Incredible. Temple of the Moon. A collection of non-random angular shapes and a tall structure appearing like an ancient Middle Eastern temple can be seen on the edge of a squarish crater field. Oh, wow. Yeah, those colored slides really bring it out. Open this up. Maybe we could do that here. Why go to a separate picture when it... Nope, that didn't work. Now I know why I go to a separate picture. Particularly this part right here. It looks like the submersible from Fantastic Voyage. Almost. Straight lines here. Rectangular here. I mean, come on. Why don't we do something useful next time we visit? Wow. Oblivion drone. Not seeing it immediately. Evergreen crater. Stereo apparition. We see a stereo pair of images taken from one of the command modules. What's special about this image is that they don't quite match. Yeah, no kidding. Take a look. In the lower image, we find a slightly blurry and bright object in the center of that one might liken to a seashell. I liken it to a spherical UFO. Yet we can't find it in the top image, taken within moments of the other. Well, I guess they accompanied us to one of our moon flights. Here's a nice, for UFOs, this is a very good definition of a UFO in this photo. Look at that. Almost like a top. And the ridges, again, are parallel. That must be intelligent design. Welcome, Verpine. Verpine says looks like a giant sphere or saucer. I would classify that not as an apparition, but as one of the best UFO photos ever taken. One of the best authentic UFO photos ever taken. Green Tea says, make sure the nasty war-loving earthlings don't go too far out in the cosmos. I hope you enjoyed hearing the backstory of how I became a lunar anomaly researcher. Let's finish by checking some random images from the internet. We'll say moon anomalies. Here's the one, by the way, that was in the thumbnail. Oh, there's two of them here. One of them's from Reddit. That looks like it might be the higher definition. It is the higher definition. Excellent. Should have looked closer for a better thumbnail. Maybe I'll replace it. Open image, new tab. Yeah, look at that. Oh, yeah, I really should have used this resolution. Much better. There, you can't see it in the thumbnail, but there are two nearby spots where these anomalies occur. How do I go left to see this picture? Oh, there we go. Left arrow. There's a one is in a crater here, and one is in a depression here. Probably also a crater. But look at it. They're identical. These odd rods or tubes, round at the ends. And in the adjacent crater, 3 more of them. Incredible. Lunar anomalies. Oh, check this out. This is odd. Welcome, Mystery Flavor. Shane Riley says hi to everyone. Welcome, Shane. Not very good resolution, but we'll take what we can get. Wait, what happened? I opened the wrong thing. Is it in here somewhere? Probably. Why I'm looking, oh, here it is. But it has lines over it. Let's see if we can get the image itself. Lines. It has words printed over it. So open image in new tab, please. Got here. Here. Where'd that go? Not opening the image. It might be protected. Try again. Open image in new tab. Oh, it's a green one. Okay. Here it is. The bottom one looked more impressive. Or was it the top one? Look at that square L shape. You got to be kidding me. Yeah, that looks like a crashed orbiter of some kind. But it's got so much dust over it. Probably not human. Yeah, a little bit less impressive at close up on that one. Looks better if you look at it from 10 feet and squint. Anomaly hunter spots Stonehenge. T-Plateau says, looks like the top of a combi van. This is very good resolution. That's the Stonehenge, huh? Looks like one of its pillars hath tumbled. Verpeen with a link. Thank you, Verpeen. 2 links, actually. Check these out. And this one. And we got some good suggestions coming up. Thank you, Verpeen. Square shapes right here. Elder says Stonehenge, where the demons dwell. Not very good resolution, but every one of these has a different sig on the tab. Why the tracing? Why the rectangular tracing? It's like they don't show the features beneath. Oh, I see. Against the edge of this rock formation. This rock formation forming a right angle. And the shadow here forming another right angle. I guess that's the way they're doing it. Why they didn't expand this up to this point to show that this is where that right angle is, but not sure what they're doing there. And they get fewer and fewer. As you get, that often happens as you go down the image search. Elder says it's less convincing when they draw out what they think you're supposed to see. In that case, I must agree. Thank you, Elder. RX TV says hello. Welcome, RX. T. Olsen 2 says that is not erosion. No, not on the moon it isn't. No wind on the moon. RxTV says, salutations to everyone. Thank you, RxTV. Boogiegram is here. Oh, sorry. Bougiegram is here. Bougie saw me the other night on TikTok. Well, Just a little bit of TikTok news here, people. According to rumor, this is the last night you can use TikTok. It was apparently optional for them to let it run and let people still upload and see other people's videos. But they decided to shut it. They decided to shut it down completely. The TikTok corporation did, maybe in deference to a certain leader. And so it's supposed to disappear as of tomorrow. I'm not sure whether that's midnight tonight or what time. And Bougiegram asks why. I'm thinking it's Bougie, right? We talked about this before, right, Bougie? It's why did they do that? Unfortunately. Oh, thank you for resubscribing, Bougie. Appreciate it, bud. Thank you, Elder. You are an excellent moderator. Oh, look at that one. Oh, you gotta love that one. We have to see this before we go. Another settlement on the moon. Next up at 31 minutes past the hour is a prior suggestion from a viewer, Vasilios Bakagius, and that is the legendary Houska Castle in the Czech Republic. Best castles in the Czech Republic. Legendary. Gateway to Hell. Houska is the website in, it used to be Czechoslovakia, but now it's the Czech Republic. Thanks, I got. Shouldn't have done that. Let me duplicate that. I lost my search page. I'll just duplicate this and go backwards on this one. Welcome to the website of the mysterious Houska Castle. And it's in, I guess, I'm not sure what they speak in Czechoslovakia. I mean, the Czech Republic. Can we switch to English somehow? Cookies is okay with me. Sure. Which one is, what's this one? Choose what you want. Okay, let's turn everything off we can. Oh, it already has everything off we can. That's good. And option out, I think, is what we selected. It is in English, thank goodness. Rupine says, my life will move on as normal without TikTok. The Plateau shares his sentiments. I don't see an author given here, but the site owner begins. Dear friends and guests, we hope you'll find everything you wanted to know about the mysterious Houska Castle that you'll visit as soon as possible. Oh, it's like an advertisement. Wait. Mysterious forces. Let's check that out. The Plateau says, my cousin went to Houska. He loved it. Great menu. It is said that Houska Castle should be older than Pedy, or the Pedy Castle, which is one of our oldest surviving castles. The first question that arises is why Houska Castle was built at all. Let's see what it looks like. Copy Houska Castle. I don't think they've shown us a picture yet. And by they, I mean I. Oh, it's like a courtyard castle. That's pretty cool. Ooh, check out this view. Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah, I've seen pictures of this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's the courtyard inside. That's good resolution. Open image, please. If the original picture wasn't fuzzy, it'd be good resolution. Built on partially on a rock outcropping and attached to some outbuildings over here, but you can see here there is an inner courtyard. Fascinating. And we are where? We are over here. Okay, we are here. Houska stands in a place that has no strategic significance. Elder reports that TikTok's shutdown should be 9/17 rather than 9/7. Thank you, Elder. I may be early with my dire warning by a week. Rapine, thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated, sir. There is no reason why this castle should have been built. It's not close to any land trail. It was built in a completely desolate landscape with no available water source. It's also very interesting architecturally. According to the editors, the entire defensive system is aimed against an internal enemy. Perhaps it was guarded by something that was not allowed to get out. According to legend, the castle was built on a rock with a passage leading to hell. Hell can mean pretty much anything. But it is over this chasm that the castle chapel is supposed to stand. They had to cap the hole to hell. They had to cap the hole to hell. Say that's 10 times fast. It is also said there are many underground passages and spaces in the castle where certain things and skeletons of non-humans are supposed to be buried. The place where one could enter these passages was supposed to be marked above the now defunct castle gate. It is possible that even before Houska Castle was built, this place was so special that it attracted the attention of the ruling class. Perhaps there was or is a passage to another world, whose inhabitants may have been so different from us that they fulfilled the idea of the inhabitants of hell. So the authors ask, what was the danger that seemed to threaten the very foundations of the feudal state, if such a castle complex was built to counteract that very danger? According to another legend, a figure wearing a black monk's hood. Well, they don't have many stories, do they? They want you to go on and rent a room. And we're going to have to reduce the size of that text because it's drifting off the very poorly built HTML. There we go. A figure wearing a black monk's hood with no face appears in and around Houska and watches those who dare to visit at night, especially if they spend the night. Yeah, if you're there for longer, you're more likely to see him. Inferno. Inferno is a hand-carved lime wood mechanical inferno, a unique piece loosely inspired by Dante's Divine Comedy, specifically the first part of hell. It's not called hell, is it? It's called Inferno, right? Dante's Inferno, isn't it? The 12-meter length and 2-meter height gave ample space for 11 images of hellish punishments for evil sin, for earthly sins. What can we do with that picture? Anything? 11 images of hellish punishments, and they have 12 images here. One's of a person posing with this. So there's the 11. Punishments of hell, according to Dante. Boy, these are going to be really... Oh, that's not bad. Pretty good resolution. Gluttony. There's the ferryman. No idea. Entrance to hell. More of the same entrance. One looks closed because that looks like a wood door. One looks open. Having to carry huge boulders. Yeah, this is not all the 11. Well, that was inferred by the accompanying text. These are 3D works. These are three-dimensional. These are sculpted somehow. Old Nick with his hand dominating something or other. And let's see. Okay, considering this one, there is supposedly a, I saw in an old Chinese print, I believe it was, a picture of a person in the afterlife who was carrying a huge boulder on his back. And that is supposed to have been, welcome, big test, my good friend. Welcome, sir. And that was supposed to have been the punishment for that man because during his lifetime, he was always stepping on bugs. Thank you, Elder. There's a recommendation here on IMDb, and you know how I love IMDb. Dante's Inferno. The animated epic. There's no sound, thank goodness. Let's just get away from here. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Good, it's still muted. Hopefully we didn't get any copyright problems there. We'll find out. Go back to Houska. Now we want to... reduce this text. And go back one. Get some more links here. It was also used by mad scientists and schmatzis. Let's check that out at allthat'sinteresting.com. Oh, actually, Gateway to Hell sounds more interesting. How about Mysterious Adventure Tours? No. Factum Obscura. Here we go. Legends, Myths, and History. Here at factumobscura.com is a story by Toby entitled Houska, Exploring Houska Castle, Legends, Myth, and History. Let's skip right to those legends. Houska Castle's isolation and peculiar design have given birth to a rich tapestry of legends. Foremost among these is the infamous Gateway to Hell. Long before the stone castle was built, the rocky crag on which Houska stands was home to a terrifying mystery. A gaping bottomless pit, descending into unknown depths of darkness. This chasm, so the stories go, was not a normal geological formation, but a direct opening into hell. Peasants in the early Middle Ages believed that unspeakable creatures would crawl out of the hole at night, terrorizing the countryside. Winged demons and hybrid beasts, half human, half animal, were said to emerge from the fissure, and black bat-like figures were spotted flapping around the top of the pit at dusk. They probably lived there, those bats, right? The atmosphere around the place was so malign that even during the day, people avoided passing near it. By the time of the castle's construction in the 13th century, these rumors had reached a fever pitch. The legend states that Houska Castle was deliberately built to seal this gateway to hell, plugging the infernal pit and trapping the evil within. The king, or perhaps the local lords, supposedly chose this remote, otherwise unimportant location specifically to do this. In a twist on the usual role of castles, Houska's thick walls and chapel were intended not to protect from external enemies, but to prevent demons from escaping. This explains why the castle lacks typical amenities. Its primary function was supernatural containment, not human habitation. So, no outhouses of any kind, anywhere. Maybe in the outbuildings there are some water closets. One of the most famous folktales connected to Houska's origin is that of the condemned prisoner who was lowered into the pit. Before the castle's chapel was built over the hole, the story goes, the construction leaders wanted to gauge its depth. They offered a pardon to any prisoner sentenced to death who was brave or desperate enough to be lowered by rope into the abyss and report back what he saw. That sounds like they would have done that too. The volunteer was a young man on death row, as onlookers lowered him inch by inch into the black opening. Silence fell, but not for long. A few moments in, the prisoner's screams echoed up from the pit, begging to be pulled up. When the terrified men hauled him back to the surface, they recoiled in shock. The prisoner's hair had turned white. Deep wrinkles creased his face. In the scant minute or two underground, he appeared to have aged decades. Raving in hysteria, he spoke incoherently of half-human monsters and unbearable horrors lurking in the darkness below. He died from fright shortly thereafter. In any case, the pit was swiftly covered, and Houska's chapel was erected over that accursed ground to seal it forever. The chapel was dedicated to the Archangel Michael, leader of heaven's armies, an appropriate saint to guard against demons. Thank you to Vasilios Pakagias for the suggestion. And next up at 49 minutes past the hour, is a suggestion from Takahama Plateau. To it. Not pasting my stuff anymore. Where is Anna Rose Liva? Missing from Coober, Pedy in 1991. Or is that Coober Pedy? I'm going to say Coober Pedy. Pardon me. Anna Rosa Liva. RXTV says, I believe there's a lot of people that have opened portals in this world. We just don't know. It's among the missing, unalived, and unsolved crimes of Australia. Here's a case profile from Crime Stoppers of South Australia. Verifying you are human. Verification successful. Case profile. Unsolved. There's a $200,000 reward, by the way, people. Big Test says there are many places like that here in Mexico. They hide many crazy things underneath churches. And there are long catacombs connecting them. Connecting the churches, that is. Anna Rosa Liva was an Italian national who was in Australia as a backpacker adventurer. The experienced traveler from Pordenone in northern Italy, Pordenone, I'm going to say Pordenone, arrived on a bus at Coober, Pedy from Alice Springs at 10 p.m. on the 27th of November, 1991. Now remember, folks, that's some good summer weather down there in the southern hemisphere. She booked into accommodation on Olive Street, just off Hutchinson, the town's main thoroughfare. Excuse me. That night, the accommodation was full of backpackers eager to explore the outback town. It is unknown whether she went out that night, but at 8 a.m. the next morning, Anna ate breakfast at the Last Resort Cafe, a few hundred meters from her accommodation, and left around 8:45. By quarter after, she had returned to her accommodation and had a cup of coffee and spoke to staff. She told the staff she planned to go noodling for opals, a term she is suspected to have picked up during a conversation with a local. See Plateau, what is noodling? Maybe I should ask AI here. What is noodling to Australian? Usually means, I don't know if I should say this, fossicking for opals. That is, sifting through leftover dirt and rock at opal mines, especially in places like Coober, Pedy, or Lightning Ridge, to find small bits of opal that the miners might have missed. It's a casual, recreational form of prospecting, done either by hand or with simple tools like sieves and buckets. It's different from the American meaning of noodling, meaning catching a catfish by hand. In Australia, if someone says they're going noodling, they're probably off to try their luck searching for opal fragments among old mine tailings. Thank you, AI. Okay, let's check that out. Oh, it's right here. That's easy to find. There was an unconfirmed sighting of Anna 15 minutes after that, when a local saw a woman matching her description on Edward Street, off of the main street. Her last confirmed sighting was at 11:30 a.m. at the council chambers, at the corner of St. Nicholas and Hutchison Streets. Of course, Hutchison being the main street. She had been seeking tourist information and had a conversation with a worker about a common interest: the Jehovah's Witness religion. She had made plans to go to a meeting of Jehovah's Witnesses at 7 p.m. that night in Coober, Pedy. She also collected information about a Jehovah's Witness establishment at Engle Farm, and obtained a map of Coober Pedy. It is suspected she disappeared shortly after leaving the council chambers. She never returned to her accommodation, which was only 300 meters down Hutchison Street. Police believe it is most likely she had a discussion with someone and went willingly with her killer. Her body is believed to have been disposed of in one of the thousands of disused mine shafts that surround the far north town. I'm so sorry about the stumbling dictation here. Diction here. A reward of up to $200,000 is on offer to anyone who provides information that leads to a conviction of the recovery of her remains. Or the recovery of her remains. That's the whole case? Oh, come on. We got to see more. We got to know more. Crime Watchers. Still under investigation. How about from the Coober Pedy Regional Times? A newspaper report, evidently. In a story by The Times on CooberPedyTimes.com, entitled Anna Rosa Liva Disappearance Still Under Investigation. Police believe 30-year-old Italian tourist Anna Rosa Liva met with foul play in South Australia's outback opal mining town, Coober Pedy, in 1991. The experienced traveler who arrived in town on a bus the night before was last seen near the council offices at the corner of Hutchinson and St. Nicholas Streets near the center of the bustling township. From there, she simply vanished and was never seen again. Detective Sergeant Paul Ward from the South Australian Police Major Crime Investigation Branch said police believe her disappearance was the result of foul play for a number of reasons. He said, "We know she had plans for the days ahead. She was booked on a tour of the town that afternoon. She had made plans to attend a Jehovah's Witness meeting that night. And she had made inquiries about attending a similar meeting at Ingle Farm, in Adelaide. The dangers of open mine shafts in the area had been made clear to her, and there is no indication that she was in any personal strife or difficulties. Yeah, the mine tailings themselves must be very near the shafts." Newspaper reports from the time show that police also searched the area extensively with the help of both Aboriginal trackers and police dogs, without success, and her younger brother Constantino traveled out from Italy to help in the search. Of course. Pronounced Pedy, says Elderground. Thank you, Elderground. Coober Pedy. Also in more recent years, police, with the assistance of local mining experts, have searched 12 or 13 mine shafts within 500 meters of where she disappeared. As part of a separate inquiry, are the mine shafts so near to the town? That I did not know. So you got the town, and then you got the mine shafts adjacent. Is that not odd? I mean, immediately adjacent, within half a click. We're confident she hasn't just fallen into a nearby mine shaft. Really? Unfortunately, we believe she may have gotten into someone's car, willingly, given that we have no reports of any disturbance in that area. Detective Sergeant Ward has conducted a case review of the investigation as part of the major crime-led cold case campaign, Operation Persist. He said, "We've had very few calls on this over the years, which suggests very few people know what happened to her. But someone knows what happened to Anna, and any information in relation to her disappearance would be helpful." And it goes on to talk about the reward. And we're up to Mineshaft. Eldergrown says, "You would think they would demark the mine shafts with warning signs or something. I would be surprised if they were not." Let's take a look there. Ooh, we could probably go right there on Google Earth. We could see how close the shafts are to the mine. We might even be able to see signs, if there are any, if any roads go near the shafts. Let's go to Coober, Pedy. And that's probably here at Google Earth. Thank you, Joseph Winnie. Joseph Winnie with a suggestion. Wow, we got a ton of suggestions tonight. We're going to have to move our butts along here. But I want to see Coober, Pedy first. Coober, Pedy. Not Coober, Pedy. Coober, Pedy with only 2 O's, Bill. Yes. It is Coober. Never mind. Dismiss. Everything's got AI these days. Have you noticed that? All the websites you use regularly. Now we have AI. I think we can click off of here. Approach the site. Can't we just go plus down here? How do we do this? We do it here, I guess. The Coober, Pedy Airport. So you don't have to drive there. Thank goodness. Of course, what you're flying in on. Look at how small that town is. Wow. Behold. The township of Coober, Pedy. It sprawls on a bit, but that ain't a big town. About the size of Lake George. Chili Bean is here. Welcome, Chili Bean. May God rest her soul. I had no idea. May God rest Elizabeth's soul. So sorry to hear that, Chili. So sorry to hear that, my friend. Mining areas. How are we going to find that? Within 500 meters. What's this? No scale here, huh? Get your act in order, Google Earth. Give us a scale or something. Maybe we could figure it out. 500 meters. I would have no idea. Is it going to give us street names? There was a certain street she disappeared off of. Doesn't give us street names. Is Google, is the, yeah, it's available. We can see from ground level. So we know we can see from ground level. Let's find those mines. Within half a click. Welcome, Rhino Rex. Okay, I have to use the minus to do this. I'm hitting the minus key on my keyboard for some odd reason. Where are the mines? Check out a place called D's Dugouts. D's Dugouts, underground hotel. Is that where the, is that next to the abandoned mining shafts? The plateau? We got the Catacomb Church, Mining Museum, Tom's Opal Mine, a working opal mine. We're looking for the mines. We could use advice on that. Mini golf, temporarily closed. Coober Pedy views. The Catacomb Church. How would you know? How would you be able to tell? I think a mining operation from the air. I wish there was a legend here so we could see how far is a kilometer. Okay. Well, ask AI. Welcome, Tina T. Tina T is one of the original gangsters of Night Terrors. Good to see you, Tina. So, I'm looking at Google Earth. Let me talk to this AI for a second. Not the right one. We want this one. Dragon. I am using Google Earth. I want to see the mine shafts that are within half of a kilometer of Coober Pedy in Australia. Are they located where are they located in terms of the compass? And I have to respell this because AI understood Coober Pedy. It is Coober Pedy. Here's a map showing Coober Pedy, and its surrounding opal fields. Okay. Open image, new tab. This might help. Okay, here's the town, which we were looking at. Oh, look at that. It's like even in among the town. Check this out. Down here. Here's the town. That's the only place the roads are, of course, is where the mines were. Within 500 meters. Where's the scale? Oh, they cut off the scale. They cut off that. It says what? 0, and then can't read the dang number. 1 what would that be? 1 kilometer? Dinkamossi, welcome Dinkum. Dinkamossi says, people live in dugout underground homes. So one of these areas around here. So we're supposed to be able to see abandoned mine shafts this close to the town, Dinkum? Are there actually abandoned mine shafts like within half a click of the town? And do they have signs? Do you know? Yeah, well, this is the Rosa, and that's here, and that's again here. Chili Bean suspects there may be subterranean feral people, which fortunately expire if they ever exposed to the surface. Dinkum says there are thousands of shafts everywhere. Signs just say beware, but not for every hole. Okay, let's see some of them signs. I was there 3 weeks ago, says Dinkum. Wow. Maybe you can help guide us, Dinkum. We're going down into town here. You would think that in town there'd be a lot of beware signs. What does that map look like again? Is that here? No, it's the castle. Where was that? Is that here? No, that's the moon. I rot. Thank you, Chili. Show us the way, says RXTV, right? Let's get as close as we can. Holes everywhere, huh? Evidently not where kids are going to be running in the yard, right? Dinkum, where's a good place to look? From the other place looks like Swiss cheese. Okay, that's a clue. So maybe I wish I remembered where I had that map. Just out of town, you will see the Opal Fields. Yeah, that must be these right here. It must be every geological thing here, right? Where is that map? Okay, I'm going to look for others. Is it this one? Oh, good. It's the nearby one, Bill. Why don't you just look at the nearby one? Don't click out of it. Okay. We have some here by a dip in the road. Is that within half a click? It could be. Or they could be talking about this section here. Huh. Okay, so either by a dip in the road or at the end of us, looks like there's a street here, the end of this street here. Okay. So that is, go out a bit. There's the dip right there. That's got to be a kilometer though, right? But if we go into town, there's this like got a star shape. There's a 5 corners here. So, and there's the 5 corners there. All right. So it says right about here. Maybe in this general area where there's like a sports field here. Maybe behind the sports field? Gym. Coober Pedy Oval. I assume that place where these places here, they have warning signs and stuff, but so nothing there now we're going to be able to see as in the way of mine holes. Maybe under the dip in the road, which is right here. We said under the dip, right? And the main purpose, remember, is to see those signs. That's what we want to see. Well, look at the old roads they used to use. Isn't that interesting? Okay, let's go down there. Oh, we can only see it from the main road. We can't go on into the old mining roads, unfortunately. So, oh, there's holes. Okay, down we got it. Dinkum said that it looks like Swiss cheese, and all. Check out the holes. And the closest holes to that road, now I know what they look like. Oh, there's more over here. Now I see them everywhere. You see them, guys? Right here? Street view, I know that. They're all over the place. And what are some closer to town? A bunch of these over here. Why did they think it was within a half a click, though? Not so many there, but yeah. So let's see if there's any signs. We'll go right here. Oh, come on. Turn back on, please. Right here. And we got to swing to the other side of the road. And there's no way to see him from this distance. But I imagine those are the tailings. those white hills. Or would they be the brown hills? No way to see any signs there, but it's so obvious that that would be a dangerous area, right? Probably wouldn't be any signs. Only ones closer to town, I guess. Next up, at 16 minutes past the hour. Suggestion from Joseph Winnie. To wit. No, wait. I'm looking at the very bottom. This is a suggestion from Green Tea. Yours is on the end of the list, unfortunately, Joe. What was the Warminster Thing? So let's just put Warminster Thing. Oh, it's a common search. Should we check out Mental Floss, Strange Outdoors, the Warminster UFO Mystery? The Warminster Thing. A Strange Outdoors. Thank you, Tina. I see your message. So I'm going to write down Warminster here. With my bad hand. Open link a new tab. Here at strangeoutdoors.com. There's a story by Clay Hill. No, that's the name of the hill. There's a story by, oh, that's a photo credit. Is there an article at the bottom? It looks like the article. No, that's not the X out of there. Warminster. Are there Warminster stories? Is there an author here anywhere? Thanks to Kevin Goodman and Steve Dewey for an excellent 152-page overview in History of a Mystery. Further reading. So let's just say anonymous. The Warminster UFO Mystery. The Warminster Thing. At the end of 1964, residents of the Wiltshire town of Warminster in the southwest of England. Oh, it would be Warminster. It is Warminster. Started to witness strange happenings. These reports were collected in a book published in 1967 by journalist Arthur Shuttlewood called The Warminster Mystery. The unexplained phenomena, including noises and objects in the sky, continued for 10 more years. Up to the 1980s, the memories of those events were fresh in the minds of the people, in and around the town, but over recent decades, these have faded. However, more recently, interest in the Warminster mystery, or the Warminster Thing, has been reignited due to several books and YouTube videos. Several sources confirm the numerous events relating to the Warminster Thing in the 60s and the 70s, suggesting something mysterious did happen. As a result, the town has been called Britain's UFO capital. Some believe the area's proximity to the prehistoric stone circles at Stonehenge is the reason for the strange activity. Here's history of the town. The town market. Who was the author? When strange noises were reported and objects were seen in the skies near Warminster in the late 60s, Shuttlewood collected a sizable file on these sightings. It was not until September 65, when he saw a UFO from his home, that he became a believer. He soon became the mouthpiece of the Warminster mystery. He published several books. Christmas Day, 1964. At 1:25 in the morning on Christmas Day, Mildred Head was awoken by a strange noise. Her ceiling, she later told local journalist Arthur Shuttlewood, had come alive with strange sounds lashing at the roof. It sounded like twigs brushing against the tiles, but it got louder and louder until it reverberated like giant hailstones. Sadly, her husband was deaf. He heard nothing and slept on. Thinking there'd been a storm, Mildred got out of bed and went to the window. The night was dry and clear. Then she heard another noise, a humming sound that grew louder before fading to a whisper, or a low wheezing, quote unquote. The air was brazenly filled with a menacing sound. Sudden vibrations came overhead. They tore the quiet atmosphere to raucous rags. Shockwaves pounded at her head, neck, and shoulders. Later that morning, around 6 a.m., Marjorie By was walking to the Holy Communion service at Christ Church in Warminster. She noticed a crackling sound coming from the nearby Bell Hill area of the town. At first, she thought it was a lorry spreading grit on the hill, but as the noise grew louder, it came over her head and passed on across Ludlow Close. She said the noise sounded like branches being pulled over gravel. There was a faint hum, loud enough to be heard over someone talking. The sky was dark but starlit, and she could see nothing above her. Then as she approached the church, she experienced a sonic attack. She reported sudden vibrations coming overhead, chilling in intensity. Shockwaves pounded at her head, neck, and shoulders, and she was pinned down by invisible fingers of sound. Initially, Mrs. By's identity was not reported as she feared ridicule. The Warminster Journal reported that explanations for the incident included static electricity caused by wet power lines. Welcome, Jordan Cogburn. Around the same time, Roger Rump, Warminster's head postmaster, heard similar noises to Mrs. By. He reported hearing a terrific clatter, as though the roof tiles were being pulled off by some tremendous force. Rump said, Then came a scrambling sound as if they were being loudly slammed back into place. I could hear an odd humming tone. It was unusual, but it lasted no more than a minute. Shuttlewood also reported in the Warminster Journal that 30 soldiers at Nook Camp, around 4 miles from Warminster, were woken by a loud noise described as being like a chimney stack being ripped from a roof and scattered about. The guards were alerted, but nothing was found, and the soldiers said the noises were not the same as those of an aircraft. Not any of our aircraft. Later, other sonic attacks occurred around the same time in different locations around the town and were reported. 1965 events. A Warminster UFO photo. Yeah, I'm kind of suspicious there because all their photos were like of disc shapes back then. And I'm pretty sure we haven't seen any disc-shaped UFOs in official images, official government images. Tic Tacs, yes. Cigar shapes, yes. But never a saucer yet. Taken by this young imaginative dude, perhaps. I haven't read this article before. An eyewitness account published in Weird Wiltshire in 2023. Did me and my friend see the Warminster Thing in 1977 at Clay Hill? We decided to visit Clay Hill one night for a vigil to actually look for UFOs. But I can't remember what the date was, he says. We managed to climb to the top in virtual darkness. It was a clear night, and from the top we could see for miles. We saw the lights from nearby villages and towns. We saw helicopter activity from the nearby army bases, and watched satellites for about an hour. We bought a tent, so we decided to scale back down the hill and find somewhere to pitch it. Heading back to the car, we drove around some local lanes, but it's hard to find somewhere when you're in the country in darkness, with no street lights. I found a gated field entrance, which I pulled up to, and my friends got out of the tent and stuff from the trunk, including a couple of flashlights. I admit I was starting to feel a bit vulnerable, being in the middle of nowhere at the bottom of Clay Hill in UFO country. I stayed near the car while my friends tried to stake out the tent in the field. They have nice ones these days that open themselves. There was a house 300 yards or so away, so I wondered if it was somewhere from there. If it was someone from... Oh, wait a second, I'm jumping ahead. They were saying the ground was too stony and hard, as I noticed a light coming toward us up the lane, like a swinging lantern. There was a house 300 yards or so away, so I wondered if it was someone from there. I was trying to figure out what it was when the light disappeared from view, going down and leaving a light showing and then popping up again at low level. A little closer. I shouted to my friends to look. What is it? We watched and saw a very bright arc light, perfectly formed and round like an orange corona around its circumference. It was now a lot bigger than lantern size. It approached us steadily before bouncing up and down. Maybe it's somehow connected to Stonehenge. Maybe that's why they chose that area for Stonehenge, because this phenomenon is not merely from the 1960s. Disappearing as it dipped and reappearing again. This must have been sometime well after midnight. I was getting pretty scared. But I tried to attract this light thing with my friend's torch, my friend's flashlight. It was already coming towards us, growing larger in size by second, and it was noiseless, he adds. I remember saying something to my friends like, if you want to stay here, stay, but I'm getting out of here, he said after he tries to attract it with the flashlight. With that, we picked up our gear, threw it in the back of the car, and jumped in. We wheel span out of the gated field. We spun out of the gated field like a bat out of hell and sped away from the area, and whatever that thing was. It was definitely coming our way. We didn't wait around to find out. After a short time, we pulled over to compose ourselves. We found a track between two farm fields and decided to stake out the tent there. And we brewed coffee. It was in the daylight we decided to head back to the field entrance where we witnessed the thing. In the light of day and using the landscape, we managed to figure out the light was around the size of a house. And it was following and the reason it appeared to bounce as it moved was because it was following the contours of the land. Fields and trees, following very tightly and disappearing behind copses of trees and popping up over them again. I know this was not a helicopter. I am an amateur aviation photographer, so I'm familiar with all types of aircraft and their lights. Plus, it was silent. No noise whatsoever and no flashing lights, just one extremely big one. A pure white and orange tinged object. That's a real good one. Thank you to Green Tea. Next up is Eldergrown. And Eldergrown provided the, at 32 minutes past the hour. Eldergrown actually provided a URL, so we're going to check that out. Get away from here, Dragon. Yeah, you go up there. Go between the two chats. And that is here. At the Economic Times, I'm sorry, not the, at economictimes.indiatimes.com. is a story by Manu Kashik entitled Aliens Coming. Interstellar object 3i Atlas may be their ship, and we have no defense. This Harvard astrophysicist is almost 100% sure. And that's 3i Atlas. What is this down here? Is that next? It is. Get out of here. Have you heard, folks, of the most recent news about 3i Atlas, though? It's made of a combination of metals, of which have never been detected in a meteor before, or a comet. I guess you could call it a comet at this point in time. Since the inception of human space exploration, there have been innumerable conspiracy theories about aliens and their existence. But this time it might be true. 3i Atlas has entered our solar system and is only the third confirmed interstellar visitor in recorded history. Is it just a comet, or is it alien technology? That's the question Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb is asking about 3i Atlas, which is now racing through space toward a close solar encounter this fall. While most astronomers see a harmless icy comet, Loeb and a team of researchers are entertaining a radical hypothesis. What if it's actually a piece of alien technology, possibly hostile? Loeb wrote, "This hypothesis proposes that our cosmic neighborhood is dangerous, filled with intelligent civilizations that are hostile and silent to avoid detection by potential predators. Interstellar predators, that is. At first glance, 3I Atlas fits the bill for a comet. Discovered on July 1st by NASA's Atlas telescope in Chile, it's more than 12 miles wide and traveling at 37 miles a second. I think it's also the fastest on record. And follows a hyperbolic orbit, meaning it came from beyond our solar system and will not return. But its trajectory will bring it within 130 million miles of Earth on October the 30th. So that's when it's the closest. Loeb argues its orbit is too perfect. The object is projected to pass close to Venus and Earth and Jupiter. In other words, it's incredibly close to our orbital plane, the orbital plane of the solar system. A rare planetary flyby that he says has a 0.005% probability of happening by chance. That's not 0.5%. That's not 0.1%. That's 1/100th of 1% of a chance. So not 1 out of 100. Not 1 out of 1,000. Not 1 out of 10,000. But 1 out of 100,000 is the chances that it would have that orbit. 1 out of 100,000. I think that's right, because a percent, you got the 100. And then a tenth is... You do the math. I'm too tired. His paper suggests that if 3I Atlas were an intelligently guided spacecraft, it might be using those planetary flybys to remaneuver or refuel, like a probe sent for surveillance or first contact. He warned a trajectory shift, if detected before November, could confirm intelligence, but by then it would be too late to respond. Anything else there? Well, that's about it. With some debunky stuff. Now let's find out the new stuff. 1 in 100,000. Yeah. 1 in 20,000. I mean, I think G-Man may have the... Because you got to multiply that by 5. So 1 in 20,000. Right. I think G-Man's got it. 1 in 20,000. Thank you, G-Man. Thank you, Gotcha Man. Joseph Winnie says it's smoking fast and too far away from Earth to worry about. Yeah, let's look up the latest stuff. And to do that, we're going to go... Let's go to Google. I don't usually like to. I'm not going to do that. And go to Google News. And enter 3I Atlas. Boy, that's small type. Does 3I Atlas generate its own light? That's from... It says here August 17th. That's old. Where's some new stuff? Why is this all old stuff? 18 hours ago. There's one. 4 days ago. Unexpected results. Let's check that one out. That's August 26th, though. 4 days ago. August 28, August 27. Elder going as a link. Thank you, Elder. From July 27, unfortunately. Trying to find the most recent article. Let me try it this way. Again, 3i Atlas. 3i Atlas. And more. Does it have news here? No. Here's the news. Top stories. Continued 2 days ago. Here we go. Interstellar object 3i Atlas continues its journey across the solar system. Continues. September 4th. Looking good. Interstellar object has astronomers debating its mysterious origin. Well, where's that excellent title we just saw? Did we not click on that? This continues to puzzle scientists. And then you get there. And it has a different title. And there's nothing written anyway. Okay, never mind. Welcome, Synchro 505. Mike does all the incidental music for the show. Mike, we're looking for the most recent news on 3i Atlas at this point. I saw headlines. Well, let me do this. Let me limit this search by date. Oh, come on. Where's the... Oh, I have tools. That's where you do it. Not any time. How about the past 24 hours? There we go. Near discovery. Researchers. New image from Chile. Hacker leaked images. Interstellar object. Recently glimpsed glowing. Elder with a link. Has 3i Atlas still been growing? Reveal how common has changed. Not exactly. Now I'm looking for the is it here? Yeah. I'm looking for the metal story, the story how they analyzed it and it has odd metals. Spectroscopic analysis. 3i Atlas. Metals. Could be investigated by these spacecraft. Surprising chemistry. There we go. August 28th. New observations revealed the interstellar object 3i Atlas has an abundance of carbon dioxide and nickel. Detection suggests its ancient formation and extraordinary flight through interstellar space have molded the object with characteristics unlike anything orbiting the sun. The high nickel and abundance of carbon dioxide were detected in its coma, a shroud of gas and dust that envelops comets and similar icy objects, and breaks off the body called the nucleus. The CO2 to water ratio in the coma is among the highest ever seen in any comet. It's unusual in a lot of ways, this visitor. I Atlas is still far away enough from the sun that the amount of activity astronomers have already detected comes as a surprise. The Webb telescope observation captured the object at 3.5 astronomical units away from the sun. And an astronomical unit being, I think that's the distance from the Earth to the sun, perhaps? Oh yeah, that's it. The inbound object will reach perihelion, its closest approach to the sun, around October 30th, before slingshotting around our star and hurtling back out into interstellar space. And they try to explain its unique composition here. The nickel, which is usually seen alongside iron when it is in a comet. So they have, most comets have nickel and iron in them. This one has nickel only, or nickel to the exclusion of iron, I should say. It has other trace elements in it, from what I read. And I think that was Eldergrown's suggestion. Next up, at 47 past the hour, suggestion from Joseph Winnie. Let's grab this one here for that. And that suggestion is Synchro thinks it might be a giant frozen key. You've heard of the key to the city? This is the key to the Andromeda Galaxy. Is this going to paste in here for me? No. Let me try again. There we go. Michael Salinger's work on frequency structures in Africa. Very interesting. I'm going to respell Salinger for you, though. I'm going to spell it like the author. See if... Michael Salinger. In South Africa. Let's call that South. Hopefully this will pick up a hit. Michael Salinger's work. I don't see any relation to Africa, so I don't know if I spelled it right. Michael Tellinger. Spiritual writer. Elder with a link. Oh gosh, Elder, you gotta stop giving me these things with a copyright video, bud. Let's see, not your fault, bud. Science and art. Lost my train of thought. Elder says, sorry, I can't help. IMDb has trailers that autoplay. I know, right? Let's try to avoid IMDb. There we go. But we're going to the next topic. And where did I do that search? Here? Yes. Okay, Salinger. International schools. Synchro says it would be great if online copyrights were paused on Saturday nights. It's organized theft is what it is. I mean, when you think about it, before there was copyright, let's go back to when early man used to tell stories around the fireplace. You couldn't sue someone for telling the same story, right? Just a way for people to steal money. Musical artists, I could probably understand, you know. Elder without a link. Thank you, Elder. Elder recommends Andromeda, the TV series. Of course, with the guy who was, what was it? It wasn't Hercules, was it? I forget who he was. Some sword and sorcery guy. What was his name? Kevin Sorbo. Right. Pretty good series. I think that was developed by Gene Roddenberry, too. The original producer of Star Trek. And it was Hercules. Not finding Salinger with South Africa. Damn, it was so close to. We almost had it, Joe. We almost had it. Okay, guys. It's about time to wrap up here, but you don't have to go home, because coming up, where you also find Tina Tomaszewski, is at Peter McCarthy's Marvelous Dark Sayings. You should head over there on YouTube. There's the official beeper. Don't know if you could hear that. Don't forget to catch that video on Wednesday. And until next week, may God bless and protect us all.